Number 1. Curse of the Crows. In a small town nestled amidst sprawling fields and shadowed forests, life was tranquil. The townsfolk went about their daily routines, oblivious to the encroaching darkness that loomed on the horizon. And then they arrived. The crows. These weren't ordinary birds, mind you. No, they were sinister creatures, their feathers as black as night, and their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly intelligence. At first, we paid them little heed, dismissing them as mere nuisances. Little did we know that these winged harbingers brought with them a curse that would plunge our peaceful existence into a terrifying nightmare. It started subtly, like an omen whispered on the wind. People began to vanish without a trace, leaving behind only empty spaces and a trail of unanswered questions. Fear permeated the air, and rumors began to circulate. Whispers carried tales of the crows' involvement, their beady eyes observing our every move, and their sinister intent lurking with the depths of their darkness. As evening descended upon the town, I witnessed a sight that chilled me to the core. The crows gathered en masse, perching upon the sagging power lines like a congregation of malevolence. Their calls echoed through the fading light, a symphony of discordant notes that sent shivers cascading down my spine. They knew something we were yet to comprehend. Night after night, they would assemble on the rooftops, their beady eyes peering through the shroud of darkness. Sleep became a distant memory as their relentless cawing reverberated through the silence, invading my dreams with their haunting chorus. No longer could I find solace in the tranquility of the night. Instead, I was tormented by their presence, their sinister vigilance gnawing at the fringes of my sanity. The townsfolk, desperate to claim their lives, banded together to combat this avian menace. Scarecrows were erected, their tattered clothes in straw-filled frames intended to ward off the crows. Loud noises filled the air, from the blaring of car horns to the clamor of banging pots and pans. But the crows were cunning adversaries, cunning beyond our understanding. They simply scoffed at our feeble attempts, as if mocking our futile resistance. One by one, the crows began to target unsuspecting victims, descending from the heavens with malevolent intent. They swooped down with razor-sharp talons, tearing at flesh and instigating unbearable pain. Their victims' screams pierced the night, their pleas of salvation echoing through the moonlit streets. But alas, there was no escape from the cruel curse that the crows had cast upon us. Fear wrapped its icy tendrils around my heart, threatening to suffocate me in its relentless grip. Madness clawed at the edges of my consciousness as I realized that the crows were no longer mere birds, but harbingers of doom. Their eyes, those soulless orbs, followed me wherever I went, their presence a constant reminder of the impending darkness that awaited us all. And so, as I sit here, my trembling hand penning these words, the crows gather outside my window, their ominous presence undeniable. They know that I have glimpsed their true nature, aware that I am onto them. But what can I do? How does one break free from a curse woven by the wings of malevolence? Days turn into nights, and nights bled into a never-ending abyss of terror. The curse of the crows tightened its grip on our town, ensnaring us within its clutches. The once bustling streets now lay deserted, overshadowed by an eerie silence. The remaining townsfolk huddled together, their faces etched with a mixture of despair and determination. Rumors spread like wildfire, tales of ancient curses and forbidden rituals whispered in hushed tones. Desperate to find a solution, we delved into the town's history, unearthing fragments of a forgotten past. Legends spoke of a dark sorceress who had summoned the crows to exact their revenge upon the town. It was said that the only way to break the curse, her resting place, and put her tormented spirit to rest. Armed with a newfound knowledge, a small group of us embarked on a perilous journey through the haunted forests. The moon hung high in the starless sky, casting an ethereal glow upon the gnarled trees that twisted like skeletal figures. Each step we took felt heavier than the last, as if the weight of our desperation pressed upon our souls. Guided by a faded map in the flickering light of lanterns, we ventured deeper into the heart of darkness. The forest seemed to come alive, the rustling leaves whispering ominous secrets, and the distant hoots of owls serving as a haunting soundtrack to our quest. Time became a blur as we trudged through tangled undergrowth and stumbled over gnarled roots. The air grew thick with a foreboding presence, and an unrelenting chill seeped into our bones. We pressed on, driven by a mix of fear and determination, our hearts pounding in our chests like war drums. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, we reached an ancient clearing, bathed in the moon's pale light. In the center stood a weathered gravestone, its inscription barely legible. It was her resting place, the sorceress who had unleashed the curse upon our town. We exchanged nervous glances, our hands trembling as we prepared to face the source of our torment. As we approached the gravestone, a gust of wind swept through the clearing, carrying with it the chilling cawing of the crows. They descended upon us, their wings creating a whirlwind of feathers and malice. Panic gripped our hearts, but we stood our ground, determined to break free from the curse's clutches. With a collective surge of bravery, we began the ritual to release the sorceress's tormented spirit. Incantations filled the air, spoken with voices laced with desperation and hope. The ground trembled beneath our feet, and the crow's cries grew louder, as if protesting against our efforts. And then, in a blinding flash of light, the sorceress's apparition appeared before us. Eyes filled with anguish locked onto ours, and for a moment, time stood still. We could sense her pain, the weight of centuries of wrath and sorrow. With a voice that seemed to echo from the depths of the netherworld, the sorceress revealed the truth. The crows were not mere puppets of her vengeance, but servants of a far greater evil. An ancient force that hungered for chaos and despair. She had unleashed the curse to protect the town, to divert the darkness from consuming us completely. In a final act of sacrifice, the sorceress transformed her essence into a talisman, urging us to use it to banish the malevolence that had gripped our town. As her ethereal form dissipated into the night, we were left with a newfound resolve. Returning to the town, the talisman clutched tightly in our hands, we faced the swarm of crows that awaited us. With the power of the sorceress within us, we channeled our collective strength, unleashing a surge of energy that rippled through the air. The crows screeched in agony, their dark forms dissipating into nothingness. Silence descended upon the town once more. But this time, it was different. It was a silence tinged with hope, a promise of redemption. We had broken the curse, and as the sun rose over the horizon, its warm rays embraced our rejuvenated town. The crows were gone, their malevolence banished. We had faced the darkest of nights and emerged victorious. But we knew that the memory of their haunting presence would forever linger, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the power of unity in the face of unimaginable horrors. Number 2. Sex Crows. Old Man Johnson, the farmer, had been plagued by a series of mysterious disappearances. Chickens vanished without a trace, pigs met grisly fates, and the eerie silence of the night was punctuated only by the haunting caws of those damned blackbirds. Each morning, Johnson would wake to find the remnants of his livestock strewn across a farm, picked apart by sharp beaks and ruthless talons, blood soaked into the soil, mingling with the whispers of fear that seemed to linger in the air. Word spread through the town like wildfire. Folks called it a curse, a malevolent force preying upon the unsuspecting farm. Superstitions took hold, as tales of witches and demons swirled among the frightened villagers. But Old Man Johnson, stubborn as ever, refused to believe in such nonsense. Armed with a shotgun and a determined scowl, Johnson patrolled his land, eyes scanning the sky for any sign of black-feathered devils. He would chase them away, firing shots into the air, but they always returned, their numbers growing as if mocking his futile efforts. The nights grew longer, the crows bolder. Johnson's once prosperous farm became a graveyard, a twisted tableau of carnage. The relentless torment gnawed at his spirit, eroding his resolve. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by visions of those maleficent birds. The relentless hunger consuming everything he held dear. But one fateful night, as the moon bathed the farm in a ghostly glow, Johnson stumbled upon a clue. Among the scattered feathers and bones, he found a tattered piece of parchment, crumpled and worn. Inscribed upon it were cryptic symbols, ancient markings that seemed to pulse with a dreadful energy. Fear mingled with curiosity in Johnson's heart as he recognized the symbols. They belonged to the sect, a sinister figure said to dwell deep within the nearby woods. Legends whispered of dark rituals and unspeakable acts, and now the pieces of a horrifying puzzle began to fall into place. Trembling, Johnson clutched the parchment, his mind spinning with questions. What was the connection between the sect and the crows? What sinister role did they play in this macabre dance of death? Unbeknownst to Johnson, his journey into the heart of darkness was just beginning. The crows, their feathers as black as night, watched from the trees, their eyes filled with a malevolent intelligence. And as the night wore on, their relentless hunger grew, their appetite insatiable. Little did Johnson know, the set's sinister influence had taken root, entwined with the very fabric of his farm. The horrors that awaited him would shatter his illusions, plunging him into a nightmare he could never escape. Determined to unravel the mysteries that plagued his farm, Old Man Johnson ventured into the foreboding depths of the woods. The ancient trees whispered secrets as he trudged deeper, their branches reaching out like skeletal figures, beckoning him further into the unknown. The air grew heavy with an oppressive darkness, and the sounds of rustling leaves and scurrying creatures faded into an eerie silence. Johnson's heart pounded in his chest, a mix of dread and anticipation. He knew he was drawing closer to the sect's lair, to the heart of the evil that had befallen his land. At last, he stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight that fought valiantly against the encroaching shadows. There, amidst the gnarled roots and moss-covered stones, stood a decrepit altar, its stone surface etched with the same cryptic symbols that adorned the parchment he had found. Trepidation gripped Johnson as he approached the altar, his eyes wide with a mixture of fascination and horror. The scene before him was like something out of a twisted nightmare. Crows perched upon the altar, their beaks stained crimson, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly glow. Suddenly, the air crackled with malevolent energy as the sect emerged from the darkness, dressed in tattered robes. The figure exuded an aura of ancient power and malevolence. The sect's eyes, dark and piercing, locked onto Johnson, a cruel smile playing upon their lips. "You have discovered my secret, farmer," the sect's voice rasped, carrying a weight of centuries. "Those crows are my loyal disciples, executing the rituals of old, feasting upon the lifeblood of your farm." Johnson's voice quivered, his fear mingling with a growing fury. "Why? What have I done to deserve this torment?" The sect's laughter echoed through the clearing, sending shivers down Johnson's spine. "You have trespassed upon sacred grounds, unknowingly desecrating the very essence of my power. Your farm became the canvas of my dark arts, a stage for the crows' insatiable hunger." As the sect spoke, the crows' caws grew louder, their wings beating in a cacophony of malevolence. Johnson realized he had become nothing more than a pawn in a wicked game, manipulated by forces beyond his comprehension. A surge of determination flooded Johnson's veins, fueling his defiance. "No more," he declared, his voice filled with newfound resolve. "I will not be a puppet in your twisted rituals." With a swift motion, Johnson reached into his pocket and pulled out a vial of holy water, an object he had brought in desperation. He hurled it toward the altar, its contents sizzling as they made contact with the dark stone. A blinding light erupted, consuming the altar and the sect in its radiant fury. In the aftermath, silence returned to the woods, broken only by the distant caws of the surviving crows. Johnson, battered but victorious, emerged from the clearing, his heart still pounding. The sex influence had been vanquished, and with it, the crow's insatiable hunger. Returning to his farm, Johnson began the arduous task of rebuilding, his spirit tempered by the horrors he had witnessed. The crows, once menacing, now kept their distance, their appetite for carnage seemingly quelled. But Johnson knew that the scars of that nightmare would never fully fade. The crows would forever haunt his memories. And as he surveyed his restored farm, a glimmer of hope danced in his eyes, for in the face of unimaginable horrors, he had emerged victorious, a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity, even in the face of unspeakable darkness.